These macro tracking mistakes are eating into your fat loss efforts, not tracking in advance. If you aren't tracking what you're eating before you're actually eating it, you are accepting the consequences of that food decision without even knowing what those consequences are. Plan your entire day of eating ahead of time before you actually begin eating any of those foods, so you'll be able to see whether or not the foods that you're going to eat are actually going to help you hit your macros. Then, all you've got to do is follow the plan that you've created for yourself. If it turns out that those foods won't mean you end up hitting your macros, then you can change them. But if you've already eaten them, well, you can't uneat them. It's kind of like going to the shops to make a big purchase. Unless you're an absolute baller, you're probably going to check the price tag on the new iPhone before you charge your credit card. Your calories are just the same. You've got a budget that you want to stick to and a target to hit in order to see progress. All or nothing mindset. I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen a client's nutrition log filled out perfectly and meticulously from Monday to about Friday afternoon. Then I can only imagine the after-work drinks start flowing and Friday somehow turns into Saturday. Saturday rolls around into Sunday. By the end of the week, you've got no idea what's happened in terms of your nutrition. If you'd simply tracked a few drinks ahead of time and given yourself that leeway, then you could have easily stuck to your targets and still seen progress, all whilst enjoying a Friday night beverage or 3. Eating back exercise calories. I've had people literally tell me that calories in, calories out doesn't work for them because they were only eating 3,000 calories, but their smartwatch told them that they were burning 4,000 calories per day. Now, these things are amazing for tracking your heart rate, step count, logging cardio sessions, and telling the time. But they're pretty awful at estimating calories burned. According to this study, they have an error rate of up to 44%. And that's because we are all very different. You can put two people of the same size, weight, fitness levels, and effort through the exact same workout, and they will burn different amounts of energy between the two of them. So make sure when you use a calorie calculator online, you recognize that you've already described your activity levels and it has taken that into account when calculating your targets. Not tracking your cooking oils. Oil is basically pure fat, and if you're being pretty heavy-handed when it comes to cooking your meats, or frying your potatoes, or even dressing your salad, you need to keep in mind that the calories can add up really quickly. So a 50-gram serve shared amongst various parts of your dinner and salad could easily add another 400 to 500 calories to your day. And that can cause a lot of damage if you're doing this a couple of times a week. Best case, you burn more calories than you realize and maybe you get away with it. The worst case, you eat into the deficit you're working so hard to create to lose body fat and you end up gaining weight instead. Damn. Using volume instead of weight to measure your foods. 1 teaspoon, 1 tablespoon, 1 cup, and 1 serve are all really non-specific forms of measurement, which is fine if you want to leave your fat loss efforts to chance. 1 banana could be 100 calories if it was a small one, or it could be 250 calories. And if you tried hard enough, you could probably fit a cup's worth of peanut butter onto a teaspoon. But that doesn't mean you should be tracking it as one, because ultimately, your body will track it accurately. The most accurate way to measure anything is to measure how much it weighs, not logging meals out first. If you're going out for dinner, chances are the meal that you're going to eat contains more calories than the version of it that you'd make yourself at home, which means eating normally throughout the day might mean you end up going way over your calories when you end up ordering the thing that you actually want. The easiest way to avoid this is to log the meal you're going to eat out at that restaurant or the takeaway that you're ordering first. That way, you'll know exactly how many calories you need to fit that meal in, and then you can eat accordingly throughout the rest of the day in the lead up to that meal. This way, you can make sacrifices before the delicious meal rather than that delicious meal becoming the thing you have to sacrifice. Not being aware of user-created entries. Applications like MyFitnessPal are fantastic because they have so many entries to help you track your food. But this is both a blessing and a curse because a lot of those entries are created by other users and might not have the level of detail or accuracy that you've come to rely upon. When you're logging your foods, particularly when you're logging something that maybe you don't normally eat, always make sure to choose entries that contain calorie and macro information. And where possible, always choose the verified entries, which are those ones with a green little tick next to them. If you're somebody that tracks their macros, and you log a food that is only listed as 700 calories, but contains no macro information whatsoever, there's a good chance you'll end up overeating because that specific meal won't actually work towards zeroing out your macro targets for that day. Now, this probably won't be a huge issue if you're somebody that tracks only their calories, but it's still something to be mindful of, as any entry that looks like it's clearly a user entry might not be all that accurate. Tracking conveniently and not accountably. Tracking your calories or macros is a tool to help you create control over your body composition and your fat loss efforts. But if you're deliberately choosing food diary entries that have the lowest calories available, you're probably eating way more than you think. At the end of the day, your body tracks every damn calorie that you consume, whether you log it accurately and accountably inside your food diary or not. Don't see calorie tracking as a game where you need to find the lowest calorie food entries to log your food, because all you're really doing is lying to yourself and eating more calories than you realize. If you're unsure as to which food entry to pick when you've got a lot of similar ones to choose from, make the best educated decision that you can on the entries that you can see in the app. If you're going to go to the effort of tracking your calories or macros, which is undoubtedly the #1 tool for controlling your body composition, then you need to make sure you're not putting in the effort and falling for one of these common mistakes. To get your own copy of our macro tracking made simple guide, simply comment the word macros down below and I'll send it right over to you.